It's Keith Jones.
You beat me to the greeting.
I did again. This is like the second time in our lives where I've been able to do that. I appreciate you giving me the chance.
Well, I didn't exactly give you a chance.
I just took it.
Yeah, you took it, man. You got to take it.
Well, that's kind of like the point of our show today, right? Because it's about not agreeing with other people's choices.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the topic of today's show is accepting others' choices without judgment. Are you challenged with that? Or have you been challenged with that?
Totally, and I think this ought to be Keith Jones' show because I haven't mastered that one at all.
Well, I'm totally working on it. And I've got some examples from my own life of the contradiction or the hypocrisy in which I wanted people to accept my choices, but I had the hardest time accepting theirs. And that was really, really tough for me. I remember one time, a couple of years ago, that my niece came out here for a visit from Tennessee. And you know, she has a solid family, and I just wanted her to see more of the world. I benefited from moving from where I grew up in Tennessee to coming out west and being introduced to some different ideas, mindsets, approach to life, and I thought it would be great for her to, you know, just kind of get a different kind of flavor of what the world has to offer. And there was opportunity at the hospital that I volunteer at for her to come out and to kind of be a part of a summer program so she can also see if medicine was something that she wanted to go into, being a sophomore.
What a great guy. That's really
I know, so I really thought this would be a great idea. And so I mentioned it to her, and she said, no, I don't think so. And I was like, how could you not accept this opportunity? You know, because the first time she came out to Arizona, she wanted to come and see me, but I have rules and discipline, and we go into work out at 4 o'clock in the morning. Who'd imagine that a 14-year-old or 15-year-old wouldn't want to do that?
Nice to see you're so flexible.
That's right, totally. Like, hey, it's, you know, everybody gets to like share their ideas, and we can try what everybody wants. Nope. And so, but at the end of the trip, she loved it, and she loved the structure, the discipline. I mean, she craved it, and she thanked me for having her out, and she actually apologized for not being open at the beginning of the trip because she missed a trip to go to ASU, take a tour of the university here, Arizona State University, and she just said, like, I missed out being stuck in my rigid ways. So I thought a year later that she'd be really open to this opportunity.
Sure.
And she just said no, and my ego was like flaring, and my judgment about, you know, you being small-minded, you're young, you don't know any better, you know, I should make you come out here, talk to your parents and make you come out. And then I had to suppress all of that, shut the ego down, be mindful, be the observer behind the thoughts, and I had to accept her choice and said, okay, Jasmine, you know, I totally get it. You know, the offer's here if you want to take advantage of it. It's okay, you know, and I still love you, you know, and we're all good. And so I accepted her choice, but it was really hard. Now, conversely, when people have made a suggestion about things that I should do, and they haven't accepted my choices, I've been like, how can you not accept my choice? How is this affecting our friendship? Like, you shouldn't think less of me or be upset because I didn't do what you wanted to do. Like, I'm totally upset about it. Have you experienced anything like that?
Oh yeah, sure, all my life, and I still do. I mean, sometimes even it's with things that are insignificant. We were talking before, off camera, before we started, about LeBron.
Right.
And LeBron making the move from Miami to Cleveland, and people thinking that maybe this wasn't the right thing for him to do, and, you know, dumping his buddies and so forth. And we have opinions about that. I think the thing to keep in mind is that, you know, you have to accept in life the things that you cannot control.
Right.
And most of the time, other people's decisions are things you can't control. And we always get mixed up about things we can control and things we can't control. And I'd say over 90% of what's happening in the world is stuff beyond your control. So you might as well focus on what you can control.
Right.
And when you're dealing with an adult like Jasmine, you're dealing with an adult. You're not dealing with a kid. That's a different category.
Right, yeah. She's like a teenager who's going into her junior year, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but she's old enough to know, make her
Absolutely.
own choices, right?
Yes.
Especially about something like seeing a school.
Right, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, you're not dealing with, having a toddler not put his hands on the stove.
Right.
It's a different deal. But I think it's very difficult for people to accept that. But on the other hand, they must accept it. Otherwise, inside, they get torn up.
Absolutely.
They have an experience like you had. Ego flares, you don't know what to do, you take it out on that person, you don't like them anymore,
Right.
you have this resentment, you try to pay them back. Dead end, worthless.
Totally.
Yeah, cue the balloons, do something else.
Absolutely, and I think that happens, with a lot of, family members, that have a hard time, accepting someone's choice, whether it's about who they're dating, sexual orientation, we come from a family of doctors, or we've all done the family business and someone wants to go in a different direction. And we just have this hardest time accepting the choice is if it's some kind of indictment on us, as not being, good parents or, good family members, or that somehow it impacts our level of happiness. When at the end of the day, isn't it about the other person being happy? Like allowing them to make the choice, to do so, especially if it doesn't harm anyone else. And that was tough. You talked about the LeBron thing, I was in that camp that, I like LeBron, I like what he stands for, I love what he does in the community, that's the biggest point. And,
That's big.
but I had absolutely no problem with LeBron leaving Cleveland to go to Miami, and then from Miami back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I was in full support of whatever LeBron wanted to do. LeBron James, and for those who, pay attention to professional basketball in this country, you know who he is. And for those who are not, he's an NBA player who plays at the highest level, arguably the best player that's played the game the last 10 years. And so he recently went back to Cleveland, 2 years ago, and his team won the NBA title. But there was a lot of upset that he left his hometown team to go play somewhere else. He won a couple of championships there. But along the way, there was a lot of hate mail, a lot of negative things that were said about him. So I was on the other side of it, in full support. Now, fast forward to this recent season, and this NBA player who's also a star named Kevin Durant made the same choice to go play with another team that had some really, really great athletes and some all-stars on the team. I was livid. I was upset. I had an opinion about it, the whole 9 yards. And my monkey mind was running so strong and my ego was in charge that I didn't even see the contradiction that I was cool with LeBron doing it.
Really?
And Kevin, no, I couldn't
How'd you
see,
miss that?
Dude, I was blind to it. I was blind to it.
Yeah.
And so, and I still didn't see it until you sent me this article, a few weeks ago about it. And the author of the article laid it out so well that I totally got it. And people were upset that Kevin Durant went to play for this other team. They ended up winning the NBA title. And but people was like, how could he go somewhere else? He should have stayed on the team he was on. He's went to a team that's stacked with all this talent. Of course he's going to win. He owes it to that city to try to make it, with just hard work and tenacity. And you take the shortcut through life when somebody hands you an opportunity. Just all these things. The guy still had to be a skilled player. He still had to work hard enough to get himself in that position to have another team be interested in his talents. So I was just upset and lived about the whole thing. And then someone, when I was reading the article, the guy said, the author said, what if you were given the same kind of opportunity to come and roll with someone? Let's say you are a software engineer that is talented and you're kind of doing your own thing. You're trying to do the startup thing. You have no financial backing. You're having a hard time raising money. And then, the CEO of Apple Computer says, or Google says, hey, we got a spot for you. Why don't you come roll with us? What do you do if you have an opportunity to do something like that? And for us doing the podcast, I'm all about, going this route and setting up the tripod and doing our show, wherever we are. I'm all about that and posting on YouTube and, the whole journey and, little by little trying to share, our conversations with other people. But let me tell you.
Here it comes.
If Oprah calls tomorrow, we rolling, baby. We straight rolling.
All right.
And don't hate on us for doing it. So when we're given the same kind of opportunity, then it's okay for us. but it's not okay for someone else. We begrudge them. What is that about?
I don't know. Here's what I think, though. I think that we're all such opinion makers in our own lives that we have I guess this sort of innate feeling that we have the right to give our opinions about everybody else's life, which is a terrible trap. I like the abstraction better. You don't even have to go to the point of saying, hey, is that fair? Would I do the same thing? Is that a good thing?
Right.
Would it be okay for me to do? I think the abstraction is better, and the abstraction is things that are out of your control that you cannot have an opinion on.
Right.
You ought to let go, right? Because if you
Totally.
don't let them go, it's going to hurt you.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, the second thing is live and let live, right?
Right.
Isn't that an important part for all of us, that we really like the idea of having the space, especially the space or the support if there's more than space allowed in your relationship or family, to do what you want to do. I mean, to have that kind of support or that space to experience life the way you want to experience, even if you make a mistake, that's totally cool. It makes us feel great. It makes us feel like we're powerful. It makes us feel like we have some personal stake in our lives. And to have somebody else come by and say that this isn't the way it should work for you, that's ridiculous. Plus, last thing, what is that accept a judgment? Isn't an opinion just a judgment?
Absolutely.
And remember Wayne Dyer, I know one of our favorite things from Wayne, he used to say, that predominant feeling when you feel anger or outrage or frustration, what that really is you saying to the world, if only you were more like me, I wouldn't have to get mad at you.
That's right.
Seriously?
I know, it's crazy.
Is it like a 4-year-old or what?
Absolutely. I mean, the cost to your own ability to be calm and peaceful and be present and enjoy life is so big, because I mean, there was some incredible artistry and display of talent in the recent NBA Finals.
Yeah.
That because my ire toward Kevin Durant was so high, and it wasn't justified. I mean, I was totally projecting. I was not able to really just observe and witness and take on, the mastery that these guys have on the basketball court, because every shot he was taking, I was hoping he missed, and hoping the team left. I mean, but that's the level. I'm just being honest about it. And so now, when I thought that I had the whole accepting others' choices conquered and mastered, something shows me that I absolutely didn't. And so, because it was out there and it wasn't, I thought it wasn't affecting my life today. But actually it was, because I couldn't even enjoy the games.
Well, and you know what you did that was really great? You were mindful about it. At some point, something clicked in your head. You're saying, hey, this is not symmetrical. I can't feel one way about LeBron and another about Kevin Durant. At some point,
Right.
That mindfulness training, that research that you've done, that work on yourself that you've done, showed up and helped you out.
Right. And also helped that I had an accountability partner like you. But because it's important, because sometimes we can't see these blind spots.
Yeah.
And so if you give people in your life permission to offer a different perspective, and you make a commitment that my objective is to grow and to be my best. And so this gives people that are close to you permission to just kind of pull your coattails to something that you might be missing.
Well said.
And that's what you did for me.
Well, thanks, Keith. And I think this is something that Keith is doing for us, too, when we're dealing with these podcasts. I mean, the idea of us sharing things that we've screwed up in life or see things differently and now see them in a totally different way that I think is more productive and helpful is about personal mastery for all of us. It's about less pain, more effective living, more powerful living, more success in your own mind, whatever that means, however you define it, and more loving relationships. Those 5 things are always the things that pop up when you control the stuff that normally gets out of hand.
Exactly.
Like having opinions and having judgments about other people.
Exactly. So to close the show out, Rick, why don't you wrap us up with, what are 1 or 2 things that people can do that are practical when they are challenged with accepting others, whether it's a family member and their choices, the situation at work, or whatever the case may be?
Well, I think the best thing to do is to remember Voltaire's quote. Voltaire's quote was something along the lines of, the best thing in life is to let other people manage their own garden, grow their own things in their own garden. If they want to grow rutabagas and onions and you want to put in watermelon, great. That's just the way the world works, and you have to have that respect, particularly if you want the respect coming back to you. That's one thing. Second thing is live and let live is the same concept. The less we judge, the less we are judged, and
Right.
so the less we invite other people to criticize our choices. And then I think thirdly, at the end of the day, it's what you can control that's important, not what you can't control. And most of life is uncontrollable. It's out of your hands.
Right.
So you might as well just enjoy the ride and just enjoy watching other people make the choices they make. Some are great, some are not. But you only get to pick your own stuff. And not talking about your kids now, people that you have responsibility for, your folks maybe who need a little help, or other people who are disadvantaged. I'm talking about human to human, adult to adult, where there's no disability.
Right. Love it. Rick, thank you for a great show, man.
I love this.
And thank you for helping me.
Oh, man, thank you, Keith.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
I love
Thank
you, man.
Love you too, buddy.
Thank you.